Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome to Modern Dawa. I'm here again with Joseph Jacobs. Today we're going to be discussing science and God. Is God rational to believe in? And does science lead to truth? So we have two different perspectives, but really it's a very common perspective between both faiths, the belief in God, and what science has to do with it.
Yeah.
So for me, to start it off, in regards to science, science to me is a great tool for measuring what we can observe, within the earth as far as what's already been created, right? And I love science. Science is great. Science is in all creation. As a religious people, we're not against science. However, when people say that, oh, I believe in science, indicating that there is not a creator because science hasn't proved that there's a creator out there. To me, it's not a correct way to measure if a creator exists or not, because the very definition of science is, it can only test what it can observe, right? And
Mhm.
by definition, God is it's not an observant thing you can just observe, right? He's outside of creation. You can't put it under a test tube. You can't put the creator under a test tube. You could put the creation. And to me, this leads to believe that there is a creator, because how do things how does all these molecules and DNA and everything come together by chance or by randomness, right? So I'm assuming you also agree with that, right,
Yeah.
Joey?
Yeah. And then you touched on something else too. Like, science has to literally, things have to be tested in order for it to be really confirmed. I think it's a foolish thing for science to try to confirm that a soul exists. I think that is something that science has yet to confirm, and probably will never will. I doubt never will,
Nope.
just because it's impossible for it to really confirm that. And that's why belief in a creator that created all living things, all things that we've seen on this earth, and the solar system and beyond, was created by our creator. So yeah.
Right, and science can't, leading to what we said in the other video about morals and stuff like that. Science can tell us what's morally right and morally wrong, right? You can
Mm-hmm.
observe that.
Oh, but we
So,
have governments and laws for that, right?
oh
Laws of
yeah,
men,
the
the laws
government.
of men.
Yeah,
Geez, that's another rabbit hole, but that's
yeah,
we'll save
exactly.
that for another day.
Yeah, that's just a whole nother ball game there.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of things science can't really tell us. It gives us maybe a very good hypothesis or whatnot, but can it really lead to objective truth? Not really. I mean, as far as giving us facts, okay, maybe it could be a fact in a certain time frame, like Isaac Newton's gravity um, theory. That was a
Mm-hmm.
fact back then, and he also thought the universe was. I don't know if it was him, or I know a lot of scientists back in the days thought the universe was eternal, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now, and that was a fact. But now we know, or we're the new theory, the Big Bang theory, is that there is a starting point to the universe, and
Yeah.
that's as known as a fact. So what happened? It changed. So how can we call something a fact that could possibly change? And this Big Bang theory could change later on too when we have more data. So yeah, it doesn't really lead to truth. I don't know, because it can always change. It's not an objective truth.
Yeah.
And as far as going back to if religion is against it, actually, um, I don't know about the Christianity. I'm sure there were scientists, a lot of scientists back in the Catholic and Christian days back then. But I know one who, I forgot his name, but in Islam is one of the founders of the scientific method
Hmm.
in Islamic Spain. So it's not like we're against science. A lot brought up science and used science. So that's the argument is invalid there.
I think it just begs the question too of, like, where did all these hypotheses and theories really come from? Who gave these very smart people, very intelligent people, these these thoughts? It had to come from somewhere. I guess you can say, oh, maybe they learned it. They obviously dedicated their lives to studying and this and that. But again, it came from somewhere. Those thoughts of like getting to those theories and everything came from somewhere. And I'll just point to my confirmation within the Bible of, especially where the earth is suspended over nothing. In Job 26 verse 7, he suspends the earth over nothing. And that's this book of Job has been carbon dated back into 3,500 years ago. Sir Isaac Newton's law of gravitation came out in 1687. So which came out first? The Job, who was a shepherd who raised livestock, who wasn't a scientific genius by any means, but the Bible has been dated prior to the law of gravitation. Came up with this theory of the earth is suspended over nothing. And Sir Isaac Newton got all the praise. But this was, again, confirmed prior to that.
Yeah, people, they overlooked that kind of stuff because, it's in the Bible or it's in the Quran.
And probably a lot of people don't know that either. So.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. That's a good point. And just to touch up on that, we were talking about Big Bang Theory and how the whole theory is that we were in once one unit of mass, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the universe is now expanding, so it must have came from one singular point. And it's like a balloon, you blow up the balloon and it goes rolls up. So it had to start from somewhere, right? And then the Quran verse, chapter 21, verse 30, it says, do not the disbelievers see that we are once one mass unit, and it's expanding. The universe is expanding. So right there, you could point out, that's exactly what they're saying now, and it took them pretty long time to figure that stuff out. So again, I don't really like to use science and put it in the Quran because science is always changing, but it's just an amazing point of reference there that it says we have one point that we started, and now it's expanders, and the universe now we know is expanding.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually going to lead to the destruction of the universe because it's going to collapse on itself. And that's the new theory. So that confirms a beginning and an end, which we both believe in.
Yes.
Religion.
That's right. Will come to an end.
And when it comes down to the belief in God,
I wanted to bring up one more thing. The water cycle is also within the Bible, where I think I'm trying to see the date here. Mankind didn't understand the water cycle until about 400 years ago, throughout the 1670s. The cycle of water, evaporation, precipitation, condensation. In Job 36, the same book, 3,500 years ago, verse 27, 28, he draws up the water, which distill as rain into the streams. The clouds pour down their moisture as abundant showers fall on mankind. So drying up the water, evaporation, distills the rain as streams, precipitation, clouds pour down their moisture, condensation. So that theory didn't come up again throughout the 1670s, but again, predated and confirmed throughout the Bible in Job 36. So science, Bible is fact, and even addresses science throughout.
Yeah. And you'd say the same about I'm sure a lot of people know about the Quranic verses about the water cycles. So these have been in these texts for a long time.
4,000 years almost. Yeah.
And the scientists, they come up with it and they get all the praise. Oh my God, look at science. It's like no one puts that same measurement into.
I mean, who knows? I don't know of I think the two French scientists that came up with who got
they were probably
maybe they were religious and they found it out and they're like, well, it's in the Bible and maybe no one's really confirmed it yet. And I don't know that I don't know that answer. I'm speculating there. So don't take that as Bible. But yeah, like I just thought there. I thought.
Yeah, really, this if for us we don't establish truth until we know it comes from our creator, then it's like, okay, now it's true. As far as a belief in science, like a religious, certain fact, no, I don't go that far, although it is a great tool. And it can never tell us, it can never tell us if there is a creator, what happens after death, what's good, what's wrong, our 100%. Soul. It's a lot of things that it cannot tell us, and that's what you need.
So then, begs the question for our next topic, right? Is the belief in God rational then?
That's why it is rational, because who can tell us these things?
Right.
Who will be able to tell us these things? No one besides God, the one who created everything, right?
Hmm.
And how do we know what he said? It'd have to be through revelation. How do we know objectively that it even exists? He would have to tell us, right?
Hmm.
So that this would be the way through revelation, through prophets and messengers, etc. But if we go back to even the Big Bang Theory, you still have to question who started it all, who's the one who created it, made it expand, the hydrogens, the electrons, and the atoms, and everything. If there was one thing that was not fine tuned, the universe wouldn't exist. So it has to be organized within a certain way. And there's really only a few couple options. Either we came from nothing, we created ourselves, or we always existed. Unless you have another option for me.
Um,
That's
no.
yeah, really the only one.
Yeah.
And to
No.
create ourselves, we would have to be here in the first place. It's like asking,
Yeah, but we
or
weren't
it's
here.
like,
We were definitely not on Earth.
right. It's like,
No.
can a mother give birth to herself? I mean, it's irrational. And then we came from nothing. Of course, nothing comes nothing. You can't. It's just there's nothing. It's nothing. It's
Mhm.
very. And I like how scientists try to, or some atheist scientists, they try to make nothing something, but it's really is always nothing. You can't
I
create
think the
something.
whole, I mean, you're seeing like the law, the evolution of primates to
Yeah,
us, right? Like, honestly, that if the will of God was to have that evolution, that came from somewhere too, right? You
yeah. It
know,
had to have a beginning somewhere.
so no, we haven't seen any primates, follow that suit, right? They don't get older and they become humans, you know. So if it was the will of God for us to obviously evolve from there, and now we are humans, we are reasonable and rational, and we believe, we have thoughts, we are aware, XYZ, all that. But it obviously, it evolved that way for a purpose, but it was God's will for that to happen, and now we have life as we see it now, um, the way we see it now. But that all came from somewhere. We didn't just, like Joseph said, we didn't give birth to ourselves. Like, no, that didn't happen.
Right. And even, with evolution of the animals, okay, maybe so, but that doesn't say that doesn't prove anything, doesn't prove God doesn't exist. There
Exactly.
could
Yeah.
be an ultimate creator behind everything. And like Joey said about rationality and reason, or where did that come from? If we're the only ones who have this intellectual rationality and had to start from somewhere that had it before, right? So
Hmm.
we can't evolutionize to start thinking, and had to begin somewhere. Molecules can't. It's a it's a physical thing. Physical things can't start being conscious and use rationality and think. It had to have been given rationality from something that already contained it. If I had, if someone has a banana, someone else would have had that banana to give them that banana, if that makes sense. So with that rationality, someone has to have rationality. And who would have had that? It can't just develop from nothing. So to people that say we came from molecules and then developed into fish and blah blah blah, there has to be a point where that rationality kicked in, and that can only come from something that was rational before. And that would be what I call God.
There you
I think you put the nail in the coffin there. I mean,
go.
I don't
Yeah.
know you can argue that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mic
bring it
drop.
on. Bring on atheists. You want to come on here with anything? They come up with these silly stuff, but we're just asking you to think about it rationally. It's the whole
And I wouldn't say
topic.
it's more of like a challenge, per se either. Is just like really think about it, right? Really go to the foundation, the framework of what you're, if you're trying to challenge, like, the existence of God, and the existence of, how we came about too. Like, just the core fundamental thing of how everything was brought into existence. Like, science has yet to prove it all, and it never will. Um, I mean, one thing, I think, like, will cease to exist before even science can get there anyway. But and that's another thing too. But we'll save that for another topic too, because that's obviously another thing there. But yeah, I have nothing else to really come
Yeah,
in on
pretty
there.
much sums it up. I think we're gonna go into the Bible and Quran and get into the nitty gritty stuff.
Hmm.
But first, we have some more commonalities to go through with
Hmm.
Christianity and
Yeah.
Islam. And we'll probably do that one next, inshallah, God willing. And we hope to see you guys on the next one. Assalamu
All right.
alaikum. Have a good one.